Welcome to another AP Human Geography topic walkthrough, brought to you by Mr. Michael, Social Studies teacher. This video is here to help you fill out your lecture notes, understand the big ideas, and maybe even laugh once or twice. So grab your notes and let's get started.
Language and religion, the ultimate cultural duo. They shape how people speak, pray, argue, vibe, and even how they say "bless you" after a sneeze. In this lesson, we're diving into how both language and religion spread across the globe. And spoiler alert, it's not always peaceful or natural. From ancient migrations to colonial empires to modern missionaries with smartphones, these core parts of culture have been carried, copied, and sometimes forced onto others. We'll break down major theories like the Kurgan hearth theory, trace language families like Indo-European, and explore how religion spread through relocation, contagious, and hierarchical diffusion, all while looking at real-world examples that hit harder than a Duolingo streak reset. Let's get into how the words we speak and the beliefs we follow ended up where they are today. Language isn't just how people communicate, it's a cultural fingerprint, and like all things culture, it spreads. In this topic, the goal is to understand how language families, languages, and dialects diffuse from their original cultural hearths. Those OG hotspots where things first began. The spotlights on families like Indo-European, the language super squad that includes English, Spanish, Russian, Hindi, and more. From there, you will learn how to track language diffusion across space and time. Think maps with color-coded regions, toponyms that tell stories, and charts that reveal hidden connections between tongues that might sound nothing alike but share a common ancestor. But the diffusion of language isn't random. It's powered by migration, conquest, trade, colonization, and sometimes pure historical chaos. Language isn't just something people speak. It's something geographers map, trace, and decode. That's where linguistic geographers come in. They study where languages began, the cultural hearths, and how they've spread across the globe over time. But they don't stop there. They also analyze the distribution of languages and uncover relationships between them, like a giant linguistic family tree. Ever wonder how Hindi and English can be distant cousins? Or why Portuguese is spoken in Brazil, but not Spain? That's the kind of mystery linguistic geographers live for. Coming up, how all these languages get organized into families, branches, groups, and where the mega player Indo-European fits in. Imagine all the world's languages as one giant, messy, multilingual family tree, with deep roots, tangled branches, and a few surprise siblings no one saw coming. That's basically what a language family is. The largest group of related languages that share a common ancient ancestor and cultural hearth. These families are the OGs of human communication. At the top of the linguistic leaderboard is Indo-European, with about 3.2 billion speakers, from English to Spanish to Hindi to Russian. This family is global, thanks to migration, colonialism, and let's be real, some aggressive historical expansion. In second place is the Sino-Tibetan family, with 1.4 billion speakers, mostly concentrated in East and Southeast Asia. Mandarin Chinese alone accounts for over 1 billion of those, which basically makes it the Beyoncé of world languages. The language tree visual shows how languages break into branches, groups, and eventually individual tongues, kind of like zooming in on a family reunion, where you realize you're somehow related to like 90 people you've never met. Language families are just the starting point. Now it's time to climb out onto the branches and see how these massive groups break down even further. All right, now we're zooming in on the branches of that giant language family tree. A language branch is like a mini family inside the bigger one, a group of languages that share a more recent common origin. They broke off from the main trunk thousands of years ago, and while they've evolved into their own distinct styles, they're still definitely related. It's giving same DNA, different vibes. Take the Romance branch. No, it's not all about love letters. It comes from Latin, thanks to the Roman Empire. It includes Spanish, Portuguese, French, and Italian, the languages you'd hear on a Euro trip or in a Netflix drama with subtitles. Then there's the Germanic branch, which includes German, English, and Dutch. Yep, that means English and German are linguistic cousins, which explains why we say father and Germans say Vater. Sounds close, right? These branches help explain why some languages feel kind of similar, even across borders, and why language diffusion is more connected than it looks. Next, we're going even deeper into how individual dialects and regional quirks emerge within these branches. Now we're on the twigs, the language group level. A language group is the tightest squad in the linguistic hierarchy. These languages not only share a common branch, but they've also stuck together more recently, meaning their vocabularies, grammar, and even slang might still overlap. It's like the friend group that still wears matching jackets after graduating. Take Portuguese, Italian, and Spanish, all part of the Romance branch, but within that, they form a closer-knit group with tons of recognizable words and similar sentence structure. If you know one, picking up another isn't too much of a stretch. Duolingo might not cry as hard. Then there's the West Germanic group, including English, Dutch, Afrikaans, and German. Even though they've drifted, you can still spot the family resemblance. For example, apple in English is appel in Dutch and apfel in German. Same fruit, different accent. Language groups help us track just how far languages have evolved from their ancestors, or how close they still are, despite political borders. Even with all these connections between languages, how much they're actually spoken, and where, can look very different in the real world. Let's check out how languages stack up when it comes to both native speakers and their digital footprint across the internet. Welcome to the language popularity contest, but with a twist. On the left side of the chart, we've got native speakers IRL. Chinese takes the crown with over 1.2 billion first language speakers, followed by Spanish, English, Arabic, and Hindi. It's giving global powerhouses, especially in Asia and Latin America. But hold up, check the pie chart on the right. When it comes to online language dominance, it's a whole different story. English dominates the internet with over 50% of websites using it for content. That's more than all the other languages combined. So what's going on here? This is a perfect example of language diffusion meeting globalization. English spread through colonization, but its dominance grew even bigger through technology, media, and the internet. Think Netflix, coding languages, and international business. They've all helped make English the unofficial global default online. Meanwhile, Chinese, despite its huge native base, makes up less than 2% of internet content. That's partly due to the Great Firewall and China's tight digital ecosystem. It's not about how many people speak a language, it's about where it's used and who's publishing content with it. But even within a single language, things can sound wildly different depending on where you are. Let's zoom into the smallest level of classification, dialects, and see how vocab, pronunciation, and spelling all get a local remix. So imagine this. You and your cousin both speak English, but they call the trash can a bin and say loo instead of bathroom. That's a dialect. It's like a remix of the same language, just with different vibes, new vocab, different pronunciation, and sometimes even spelling. Dialects usually pop up when groups of people get separated by migration, geography, or culture, and evolve their language in slightly different ways. Now, here's where it gets even cooler. There are actual maps that show where these dialect differences happen. Let's check out how geographers track that using something called an isogloss. Just when you thought dialects couldn't get more complicated, enter the isogloss. It's like the linguistic version of a border wall, invisible, but super real when it comes to how people talk. An isogloss marks the geographic boundary where one linguistic feature, like pronunciation, vocab, or word choice, starts or stops. Take a look at these maps. One shows where folks say tennis shoes versus sneakers. Yes, the drama is real. The other dives into the eternal soda versus pop versus Coke debate. Spoiler, it gets weird in the Midwest. These examples show how language patterns don't just exist. They live on maps, shaped by migration, cultural identity, and history. Let's zoom out a bit now and look at how languages spread across the world, from their original hearths to where they ended up. Language doesn't just pop up randomly. It has a hearth, a geographic starting point where it first takes root and spreads outward. These cultural hearths are the engines of innovation, belief systems, and yes, language. Ancient hearths like the Indus River Valley or Mesopotamia gave rise to early written and spoken languages that shaped civilizations. Meanwhile, modern hearths, like New York, Paris, and Shanghai, influence global language trends today, especially through media, tech, and pop culture. This connection between hearths and diffusion helps explain why some languages go global, while others stay regional. From these cultural hearths, language spread across regions through a variety of historical forces that shaped how and where people communicated. Languages don't just magically appear all over the world, they spread. And a big part of that spread comes from historic power moves. We're talking about things like colonialism, military conquest, trade, and migration. Basically, whenever people move or are moved, language tags along for the ride. Think about it. Spanish and Portuguese didn't end up in Latin America by accident. That's straight up the result of European colonial empires pulling up, claiming land, and bringing their language and culture with them. And even today, you can still see the effects of these past moves. Take a look at this map. It shows where the US has military bases around the world. Language and culture still spread through power and presence, just in different ways now. Now, let's look at how one of the most widely spoken language families, Indo-European, got its start. The idea is that the Indo-European language family first spread out from around modern-day Russia and Ukraine over 4,000 years ago. The Kurgans were basically nomadic warriors who didn't just travel. They rolled deep, conquered land, and brought their language with them like a cultural flex. So as they expanded across Europe and parts of Asia, they didn't just change borders, they changed how people talked. This is a classic example of relocation diffusion through military conquest. Also, peep the small text at the bottom. Linguists say most Indo-European languages have words for snow, but not for ocean, which kinda confirms this theory started somewhere landlocked in Chile. Makes sense, right? But what if it wasn't war that spread the language? What if it was farming? Let's check out another theory that takes a totally different approach. Now let's flip the script. This time, it's not warriors charging in, it's farmers putting in the work. The Anatolian farmer theory says that Indo-European languages spread not by conquest, but through agriculture. As farming improved in ancient Anatolia, modern-day Turkey, communities grew, food supplies increased, and people started moving out in search of new land. With them, their language. So instead of swords and horses, it was wheat and barley that helped spread Indo-European languages across Europe and Asia. This is still relocation diffusion, just powered by migration and food, not war. Alright, that was a lot. So let's do a quick vibe check and recap what we've just covered. Alright besties, let's hit pause and run it back real quick. We talked about how languages are grouped, families, branches, and groups, kind of like a giant language family tree. Then we broke down how languages spread, from cultural hearths to all over the globe, thanks to stuff like conquest, trade, migration, and even farming. We even got into some theories. Kurgan warriors with their horses, and Anatolian farmers with their grain. Two totally different vibes, same end result, major language diffusion. Now that we've unpacked all that, let's see what's stuck. Ready for a little challenge? Okay, it's time to level up. Bonus question incoming. We've been talking language diffusion, so here's your challenge. How does the spread of language show both convergence and divergence in today's world? Are we all becoming one big global culture, or holding on tight to our local flavor? Think TikTok slang versus endangered languages, emoji speak versus native dialects. You get the vibe. Type your answer in the comments, bring the heat with real-world examples, and don't forget your name if you're trying to snag that extra point. Let's see who's paying attention, and who's just cruising on autopilot.